What's up, race fans? Daniel Blair with Race Day Live. I'm with Broc Glover of Dunlop Motorcycle Tires. This is your Dunlop Motorcycle Tires track condition report. Broc, St. Louis is infamous for having great traction, great soil. No different this week.
No, there's nothing better than the Midwest farm dirt here in St. Louis and the Dome. The riders love it. It always has a lot of traction here. You know, track looks a little softer than normal. I think it's going to get some ruts, but those ruts are going to be like locking in on the rails, and the racing is going to be great, and the riders are going to be going real fast.
Now, over the past few weeks, we've had sand. This week, there's no sand, but we got the over-under tunnel. How will that play in tonight's racing?
Well, a little reminiscent old school there, the over-under tunnel, and it's really fun to see that on the track once in a while. But, you know, with the track conditions, you know, as the track develops more ruts, I think particularly in the whoops and sections like that, the riders are going to have to consider some tire choices, no question about it. You know, the wider tires that some of the guys like to run on the 250Fs, maybe the 120 size, I don't think you're going to have as many guys selecting those, because when the ruts develop, you don't want the tire to be, you know, touching on each edge of the rut. So I think most of the guys will stick with the 110/90 size on the rear. The 450 guys, most everyone runs a 120, but there are a couple of exceptions. You see a guy like a Marvin Muskin or maybe Blake Baggett, guys that aren't quite as big physically of riders. They like the ease and the turning ability of a smaller, narrower tire. So I think you're going to have some tire choices, and I think, you know, we might have this issue where you almost have too much traction in places out here. So it's going to be a fun night, and I can't wait to see the racing.
With this soil and the optimum traction, how does that affect the race action?
Well, I think, you know, when the traction's this good and the berms have developed some nice ruts, the guys get locked into those ruts. And so when you're trying to pass a guy, maybe on a hard pack condition where you can kind of come in and bump them out of their spot, you know, when you're locked in a rut like that, it's a lot harder to move another rider, especially when they're a big physical rider. Maybe a guy like Davey Millsaps or a bigger physical rider is going to be harder to move. So I think that with the berms and the ruts, you're not going to see as many guys, you know, being able to bump and pass that way. They're going to have to figure out another way to get around their competitors.
Well, for Broc Glover and Daniel Blair of Race Day Live, this is your Dunlop Motorcycle Tires track condition report.